The United States women's soccer team will not play for gold after losing to Canada in the semifinals. An early injury to goalkeeper Alyssa Nair about a half hour in. Then in the second half, VAR catching Tierna Davidson for a foul. Adriana French, who replaced Nair, could not keep the Jessie Fleming penalty out of the net, and that was the difference for the Canadians, erasing a controversial 2012 Olympic Games finish with the upset of their North American rivals. Questions, of course, and criticism perhaps will come to this team and its head coach. Not the only one, though, to fail at this stage. Vlatko Antonovski, no country has ever won the World Cup, then Olympics in consecutive tournaments, and the trend for the Americans continue. Let's take a look at the bracket. So the United States will now face Australia in the third-place game on Thursday at Kashima Stadium. Sweden, with a 1-0 result in extra time, will move on to face Canada in Friday's Gold Cup final at the National Stadium in Tokyo. So the quest for a fifth gold falls short, and joining us now is Aly Wagner, a soccer analyst and two-time gold medal winner. So Aly, how did we lose the semifinal today?
You know, I think for anyone who has been waking up in the middle of the night to watch these matches, early morning games, I don't think many are shocked because this result felt like it was coming. This United States team never really found its footing in this tournament. I don't think they ever quite recovered from that opening 3-0 loss to Sweden. And so when you look at a team that's going to go the distance, you have to have confident players and you have to be confident as a unit, and neither thing really existed. So then when you break it down to this exact matchup with Canada, I think tactically, again, didn't have a lot of solutions. Canada played in their 4-4-2 diamond, 4-4-2 box offensively, and they shut down any midfield presence we would have. They shut down the wide play that we typically look to utilize to get in and around the 18. And we had no answers. That's the reality. You saw a bit of a shift in the second half where it looked like the United States started to throw more players centrally in the 18, and they didn't try to overload those wide areas. But ultimately, the U.S. looked banal. They looked fatigued. The press at moments looked like it could be promising. I thought early on, putting Lynn Williams and Alex Morgan up top, I thought they could get after Vanessa Gilles. She's been someone who's coughed up possession for Canada in some of their matches coming in. So I thought that could have been a way that the United States found that opening goal. But really, I mean, there was not a spark. And even when we went down 1-0, this is against a Canadian team that, by the way, generated one shot on target, and it was on that penalty kick that they got the go-ahead goal on. So the response just did not exist for U.S. And I've never felt that way when I've watched this team play. I felt like we've always had a chance until the last second. And even after that goal went in, it just kind of felt like I don't see a way back for this team to really to tie things up and make things difficult on Canada. Canada did that to us. They made things difficult on us. Bev Priestman, she's done incredibly well with the Canadian program. And they knew where to take advantage of the United States. They knew how to slow us down ultimately, even if they weren't going to provide that much threat going forward. And that did cause us problems.
There was immediate self-reflection from stars like Megan Rapinoe, who was the decider in the quarterfinal match in penalties against the Netherlands. After this loss, Aly, she said, quote, "We didn't have it in this game. We didn't have it in this tournament." So moving forward, how do you think Vlatko Antonovski needs to take a look at roster composition? What needs to change for the Americans after this bronze medal game on Thursday?
Well, that's an honest reflection first from Megan Rapinoe. Appreciate that. But the reality is, I think that Vlatko was a bit conservative in the way that this team was supposedly evolving into this tournament. They didn't change that much from the way Jill Ellis played. And if you don't evolve, you become obsolete. So he does have to look at different systems. He has to, of course, look at different personnel. This was an aging roster. And as much, I don't have an issue with the age per se, but I have an issue if the players are no longer hungry at this stage in their career. And it certainly looked that way. I think the Megan Rapinoe, Alex Morgan, Carly Lloyd still looked hungry, but Tobin Heath, they were off the pace. And of course, you had two players, Julie Ertz and Tobin Heath, coming off of injury, and yet they were getting a ton of minutes. So that tells you that they were relying on the veterans, to be the ones to lead this team through, and they needed some of that fresh, young, hungry talent coming up. So he's got to absolutely bring in new players. You look at Trinity Rodman, who's carrying it up, and NWSL, young 19-year-old daughter of Dennis Rodman. She's got a lot of tools in her arsenal. Ashley Sanchez having a great season. Another young player that came out of UCLA is also with Washington Spirit, a teammate of Trinity Rodman. There are bright young talents. They just need time. And that was one of the unfortunate things, I think, with like a Kat Macario on this roster, was that she didn't get quality minutes. And at a certain point, I know you don't look at this Olympics and throw it away, but at a certain point, I would have liked to see more of those young players brought in and to try to season them at this international level. Because what we know with this U.S. team is they roll through their friendlies. Coming in, the record of Wagner in this group was untouched. And then you get into these matches that actually mean something, and you start to see the true colors of the opposition and what they can do. I don't think the United States was prepared for any of that. So there has to be a good look at the way that we ramp up into this competition, because the United States, as hard as 2020 was on everyone and coming into 2021, the United States was the most prepared national team of any of these teams entering the tournament. And so there's going to be a lot of questions that will be asked internally, and hopefully the way that we approach, I think, these world events will start to shift a bit, because the rest of the world is catching up, and it's not just going to be about power, pace, and pressing.
Aly, we've got 30 seconds or less here. How does this era, the Rapinos, Heath, Lloyds, as you mentioned, will be remembered among the other American greats?
One of the best of all times. They've evolved the game, and the championships that they were able to put together, the consecutive World Cup victories. I think this team set the standard and took it to a new level in women's football, and I think they made the world pay attention by demanding that the other programs step up and start to take women's football seriously. So not even just from the optics side of football evolving. They've evolved the game in many countries, and what opportunity can exist for young players coming up. They will go down as one of the greatest generations, absolutely, in women's football history.
Not over yet, but there could be some changes here after the third medal game, the bronze medal up for grabs on Thursday. Aly Wagner joining us here with the analysis and the insight. Aly, certainly appreciate it. And they will also be talking about this as well on the Attacking Third. It's the newest podcast in the CBS Sports family. Download and follow co-host Sandra Herrera and Lisa Roman. Check them out today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.